Hey, folks. So we are going to start out quarter three prefixes and suffixes, and you're kind of in luck because there aren't that many this quarter, and more than one are repeats from previous quarters. So I'm hoping that this should go pretty quickly and that you should find relative success with relative ease. So just a quick review of what prefixes and suffixes are. They're those little word parts. They're added to a word to change the meaning. And the prefixes are added to the beginning because pre means before. And then suffixes are added at the end of a word. So we've only got a few this time, which is exciting. What I recommend you get are 3 note cards, and you're going to write the prefix or suffixes on one side and then write what it means on the other side, and you'll use these to quiz yourself to study. We're not going to check these, but it will be overall worth it just to make sure you know what these are, okay? We're going to start with the prefixes, and actually there's just one. It can have 2 versions. There are lots of things that mean not. There are lots of prefixes that mean not or opposite or something like that. The 2 that we're going to be looking at for this one are un and in, okay? And it just means not. So there are lots of examples that I can think of, and these are just random ones that came to our heads. Inactive, unhelpful, inhumane, so not humane. Humane is like treating people and animals kindly, and then inhumane is not doing that. Unaccompanied, if you're unaccompanied minor on an airline flight, that means you're not accompanied by an adult. Insignificant means not significant. Unimportant is not important, okay? So that one's pretty easy. In and un mean not. There are some other words where in can be used to actually mean in, but for the purposes of what we're doing here, in and un mean not. So now we're going to move on to the suffixes, which again go at the end. And this is the one that's new and is a little weird, okay? So we've got this AGE. It's usually pronounced idge, but not always. And, we'll get to some weirdness in a while. And it can be a noun or a verb, depending on how it's used. But it's usually like a process of something. And just realize that it can be a noun or a verb. For the most part, the way we're looking at it, we're going to be looking at nouns, but sometimes they can do both things. So this is an example of one that can do both. Bandage. Okay, you can bandage someone, and when you're bandaging someone, you're putting on a bandage. Passage, you can book passage on, a ship sailing across the sea, or there's a passage between the mountains, usually just called a pass, but it can be a passage as well. Coverage, like, hey, I have a shift, I have to work tonight, but I can't make it, so I'm looking for coverage. I'm looking for someone to do the process of covering it, the noun. Okay, going on a voyage, the process of traveling somewhere. Package, this is getting a little fast and loose with the process of, but it's a thing. And you can also package something, which is then the process of putting things in a package and doing what you got to do. And then portage, which is the one we'll be looking at here, which can be both a noun and the verb. When you're portaging in a canoe, you are taking the canoe out of the water and carrying it past something that you can't navigate in the water. All right. Our next one is ante, ant. And yes, ant can be a word. It's a little insect that eats sugar and can get in your kitchen if you leave stuff out. But that's not what we're looking at here. We're looking at the suffix ante, which turns things into adjectives a lot of the time. So we've got significant. Okay, so this is now a word that can describe something else. He was a significant influence in my life. All right, he's very pleasant. All right, pleasant is the describing word. That is relevant to this situation. That is important. He's a very important person. He's a very ignorant person, which means not very smart in the ways of the world. Dominant. So I write with my right hand. That's my dominant hand. Dominant is an adjective that's describing hand. Okay? And the last one, this is another one that we've done before. It's able, can also be ible, I-B-L-E, depending on the spelling of the word. This one should be relatively easy. It means able to, and it's as able in the word or in the suffix, okay? Just know that it turns things into an adjective that means able to do something. So available is like able to be availed, which is a little odd, but it's there. All right, breakable, it's able to be broken. Reliable, able to be relied upon. If you're a reliable person, I can rely on you. Measurable, okay, able to be measured. Noticeable, able to be noticed. Are you sensing a pattern here? Able to be something. Able to be preferred, preferable. Okay, not preferable, it's preferable. But this one's, again, a little bit weird, but if you think it's able to be preferred or it's more likely to be preferred, that's good. Okay. Your next step is going to be to go on to our first video. I'm not going to have you do a prefix and suffix check on this one because there are very few of them and 2 of them are repeats, and I don't need to be using your time for things that we don't need to do that. So go on to the next video. All right, thanks.